You are now locked in and listening to The Issue.
This guy is a franchise quarterback, and no, I don't want to hear any pushback on that.
It feels like a top 10 roster to me. It feels like it can win a championship.
This is The Issue.
Yo, what's up? We are back. It is The Issue. It is Thursday, September 22nd, and we have a great episode for you guys today. All NFL again. We're going to be predicting week 3 of the season today. That'll be at the end of the show in the third segment, but to start off...
Week 2 was crazy.
Oh, yeah, week 2 was absolutely insane. There were some matchups that were... you kind of looked at the schedule and you were like, oh, well, this should be pretty good. And they just turned out to be electric. The NFL way over-delivered this week. It was amazing.
I mean, even the Rams and Falcons, right? The Rams were waxing them, were expected to wax them. The line was like 10.5.
I know.
It was a 4-point game when you look at the end of the day.
And that's why we always shy away from those big lines like
crazy.
That. But to start off the show, we are going to have Tim's rant like normal. May lead into a little bit of a discussion, just kind of around fan bases and their expectations and their reactions to things so early on in the season. And then tying that all up at the end of the first segment will be hits and misses like we normally do. Go over where we were right and wrong, and there are quite a few of both this week. And we'll get to all of that. But to start out...
As we mentioned, obviously week 2 of the NFL season, it's come and gone. Here comes the blame game. It happens every single year up to about week 5 or 6. Most people then start to kind of become more rational, kind of figure out what you are, right? The bad teams, their fan bases kind of be like, it's development year, all that, right? All you'll hear is, well, it's Carson Wentz's fault. It's Derek Carr's fault. Oh, Mitch Trubisky stinks. The Browns, we would have won if we had Deshaun Watson, right? It's Jacoby Brissett's fault. All right, okay. Deep breaths. First of all, they're fans, right? Fans are passionate, emotional, all that, right? That's why they're fans. Not everybody is rational, takes a deep breath. But, I mean, look, even Kirk Cousins, for example, right? Yeah, he did look awful last night, for sure. Are you going to look up at the end of the year with 10 wins, a playoff spot, and I don't know, he'll complete like 67% of his throws for like 30 touchdowns, 10 picks? Like, relax, it's on the road in Philly. That's a tough spot. In prime time, second game with the new head coach, that's a tough spot. Relax, it's all good. It's all good. Carson Wentz, again, on the road, 65% of his throws, 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. No run game, top back, averaged 2 yards a carry, got sacked 5 times. I mean, hurried on 42% of his dropbacks. Like, realistically, is Carson Wentz the problem in Washington? Come on. It's Washington. At one point, they were named the Washington football team. They didn't have a name. It's Washington. Bad management.
They've had a lot of bad management, bad ownership, and the top offices have been kind of a mess.
Bad ownership, bad front office. Look, Ron Rivera is a good guy. I'm sure he's a good overall coach, but at this point, I think the game is kind of moving away from him, not into him, right? It hasn't had that same season since Cam went off, right? So, how about Derek Carr, right? Derek Carr lost that game in the second half. Well, I mean, his defense is a nosebleed. And, I mean, the play calling and coaching botch that you saw in the second half was something that I don't know if I've seen since Kyle Shanahan was up 28-3 in the Super Bowl. I mean, it was that bad. Not to mention his offensive line's abysmal, management isn't good. No, Kyler Murray's just a magician. How about Mitch Trubisky? Not a bad quarterback. We getting close to Kenny time? Probably. But I mean, if you watched that game and thought anything other than Matt Canada is a really, really bad offensive coordinator, I don't know what to tell you. Right? That is the only clear explanation or takeaway from that game. I mean, you have 3 Steelers, professional football players that are in the locker room. We got to call plays better. We can only do what they tell us to do. We got to call plays to get down the field in the right way. I mean, Mitch can spin it. Is he elite? No. Is he great? Probably not. Is he serviceable? Absolutely. Did he make a Pro Bowl? Yeah. Did you see that throw to Deontay Johnson on the 2-point conversion? That's an accurate throw. That's a damn good throw. Matt Canada's the issue. It's not Mitch Trubisky. They love to just blame quarterbacks. It's an easy fix. It's an easy, you know what? The Browns fans, that's Baker's fault. Let's bring in a new guy. All right, see you in, 11 weeks? And they're like, we would have won with Deshaun. Browns fans, PSA, shut your actual mouth. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You mean to tell me that Deshaun Watson's going to fix your awful clock management? No. You mean that Deshaun's on the hands team? No. Well, you mean to tell me that Deshaun's going to fix your front office who has had, 40 quarterbacks since the Steelers have had, 3? In the last, 40 years? The Steelers have had, 4 quarterbacks? The Browns have had, 60? Is Deshaun going to fix that? You mean to tell me that Deshaun's going to be the leader and tell Nick Chubb not to be the idiot of the day and just slide instead of going in? The Jets had no timeouts with a minute and 40 left. Nick Chubb ran into the end zone. You just gave the Jets a shot. All you do is slide. They had no timeouts. That's 3 knees and you're done. You're out of there. But yeah, no. You're right. Deshaun fixes all that. I'm sure he even fixes letting up 2 touchdowns in a minute and a half to Joe Flacco. Right, relax. It's the NFL. These things happen. They get paid a lot of money for a reason. Right, Raiders fans are freaking out. Oh my God, we're 0-2. Well, I mean, Kyler Murray is pretty good at what he does, right? He does get paid some good money. Coach is pretty clever, right? We don't know if he's great yet, but he's pretty clever. He got good weapons. It happens. It's the NFL. I don't like Joe Flacco either, but I mean, he's won some games. He's been to a Super Bowl, right? He's a good player, right? So deep breath, right? The weeks are crazy. The years are predictable. The years are more normal, right? Just, right, you're going to look up at the end of the year. First place quarterback's probably going to be the best one in the division. Fourth place is going to be probably the worst one. Hey, relax. That's what happens. It's fine. It'll all balance back out.
Yeah, it will all seem to balance in the end, but you do have the anomalies that go up and down. The one thing that you said that I wanted to kind of go on a little is Matt Canada. I saw a tweet, and I don't know why it didn't click in my head earlier, but let's not forget, Matt Canada built Nathan Peterman.
No, I mean, Peterman was a decent college quarterback.
He was decent in college.
Let's be honest.
But is that the type of player that you want in the NFL? Is that it would?
Oh, absolutely not.
Would you ever want to draft Nate Peterman? That's a firm no. And he came from a Matt Canada system. He was working with him daily at Pitt. So I do worry a little bit, and it just seems like they still do the same thing on downs where you got to take a shot, and where you have George Pickens being interviewed saying, I was open 90% of the time.
And go back and watch the film. I mean, so I only had time to go watch probably about 5 minutes worth of offensive film, probably about 10 George Pickens plays.
Yeah.
I don't know how many he played. I think he played over 20, right? He was open on probably 7 or 8 of them. I mean, he was there.
I don't know why they're not scheming things to get the ball into the playmaker's hands. Why am I watching Jalen Samuels? Right?
No, Jalen Warren.
Jalen Warren.
Yeah, Jalen Samuels, we used to have him, though.
Jalen Warren.
Jalen Warren, who's an absolute savage, by the way.
Yeah, but why am I watching him take the majority of the carries when we have a talented Najee Harris? And why are you not getting the ball to your newly drafted first-round receiver, George Pickens? Why are you not getting the ball to these pieces and playmakers all over your team? But you're going to have Mitch try a weird QB sneak thing on a 3rd and 3.
Or
you think he's picking up 3?
It's gonna be. Here's let me run
Najee
you through
Harris.
Let me run you through every Steeler drive. So there's 2 types, right? There's minimal positive yardage because we're so conservative, or there's severe negative yardage because we're so bad, right? So step 1, this is for part 1, right? This is where we get minimal positive yardage, right? So it's going to start with a very predictable, spread them out, but we're still going to run an inside zone and try to be physical, right? That's going to go for about 1 or 2.
2nd and 8.
So now we're at 2nd and 8. Now, logical people would say, let's at least throw probably 5 yards an out, right? So play caller sheets, right? You're going to have 0 to about 5. Those are going to be your plays right there. Then you're going to about 5 to 8, and then about 8 to 14, 8 to 13, 14, then you're about 15 plus. That's a common breakdown, right? Some will go 5 to 10, 10 to 15, and then 15 plus, whatever, right? Very similar. You're in that 5 to 10, 5 to 8 category on that down.
It's 2nd and 8.
Right, you got to almost get a first down, be really close, make it 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3 at the worst.
Yes.
No, what the Steelers are going to do is they're going to run a screen pass, maybe a shovel screen to a Pat Freiermuth up the middle. That will most likely get blown up. We'll get about 1 yard, maybe 2 if we're lucky. So now we're looking at a 3rd and 7.
3rd and 6, 3rd and 7.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back and we're going to do the same exact inside zone.
From first down.
But instead, let me throw in the wrinkle, it's going to be Jalen Warren this time. Okay?
Oh.
Because that's different.
And we're going to put George Pickens in motion for some reason out on the edge.
Right. And then when they go to plan B, where they actually try to push the ball, right? So they're going to start with, even though the run game hasn't been working, they're going to go with an aggressive play fake. Of course, they're going to try to bootleg him, and they're not going to block the DN. So that's going to be a sack. We're now at 2nd and 18. They'll then, again, go to the inside zone, their favorite play. They'll get about 3. So now we're looking at 3rd and 16. There's not a lot of plays for 3rd and 16. Now, they did convert one this past week, but they'll probably run a little slant route to like Muth or Deontay Johnson. We'll pick up about 6, and we'll punt the ball having gained 0 net yards.
I mean, it's very on brand with how things have been going. And
there's your offense, ladies and gentlemen.
Hasn't changed, no matter the OC we bring in. So
well, we're gonna get to that more in the second segment. Let's go. What, hits and misses?
Yeah, we got hits and misses. Let's go.
All right, so hit number 1. We said that Tua, he might be a little bit limited, but he's going to have a good year in this system, right? Jimmy Garoppolo's had really, really good, consistent seasons. Been to a Super Bowl. Matt Ryan's been to a Super Bowl in this system, right?
Yeah.
This is a quarterback-friendly system. We said with all these weapons, this new system, he's going to be pretty comfortable. He's going to be good, right? He looks comfortable, accurate, decisive. He's pushing the ball downfield. He's kind of looked like a pretty good quarterback. Now, here's the issue: he's in the AFC. So at best, what is he, like the 7th best quarterback?
7.
Because we know he's not Burrow, Allen, Herbert, Mahomes. Do we think he's Lamar? Probably not. He's probably close to that, but he's Lamar, I think, is better. Right now, is he? Are we sure he's even Derek Carr right now?
I don't think so.
I think he's closer to that category.
He's around that category, but I don't think I'd put him above Derek Carr.
Do we think over the next 3 years he's even Trevor Lawrence?
I think Trevor Lawrence has a higher ceiling for 3 to 5 years.
So at the end of the day, we do think he's looked really good, which we said he would in the system, but he does have some drawbacks, right? I mean, at the end of the day, tough conference. If he's in the NFC, he's probably, the 4th best quarterback right now?
Oh, yeah. I think that's... Yeah, easily.
Yeah. I mean, easily. So you got Aaron...
top 5.
You got Aaron, Kyler, Stafford, Brady. From there, I think he's right there with Jalen Hurts for 4 or 5, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I would agree.
So it's just unfortunate for him, but he's looked really good so far. Good for Tua. Miss number 1, yet another week of losing bets. No, but we did go 2-3. It was a tough week. Here's the thing, right?
We made progress.
We went 1-4. We're now 2-3. We're on our way to winning ways, and we keep unfortunately taking teams with quarterbacks that are just inferior, and that's something that is so unlike us to do. So that's our problem. And I think
we need to fix it.
It's easy to correct, though.
Yeah, we need to make that adjustment. We will make that adjustment this week. I mean,
I feel pretty good about the bets this week.
You keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
What's that the definition of?
Insanity.
There it is. All right, hit number 2. I don't love the sustainability of Jalen Hurts. I think at the end of the day, he's going to take a beating. And that opens up to freak accidents and freak injuries, much like a Trey Lance experience. But at the end of the day, he's really productive. And I said this about week, 12, 13, 14, somewhere in that range last year. I said, it might look ugly. He doesn't throw the most beautiful ball. But, he's good at putting up points, yards, stats. And he wins. Period. He wins.
Yeah.
Rookie head coach last year. Oh, let's go to the playoffs. It's impressive. Yeah, and they're looking really good so far.
They are.
At the end of the day, winning is what matters. He gets the job done. I think he's a hell of a leader, and I think he's super easy to root for. Said it last year at the end of the season. He's going to be pretty good. He's been really, really good so far to start the year.
Yeah.
Kind of just as expected.
Yeah, there's a hit.
All right, Miss number 2. Well, the Giants are 2-0, and they're tied for first. I never thought I'd see the day Daniel Jones is winning football games.
It's strange, but when you break it down and you look at the other teams in the division, they kind of sit atop that, don't they? And we talked about it in the show last week.
Outside of Philly, yeah.
You're the one who brought it up. You said, outside of Philly, you would take Dallas's roster last out of everybody else in the division.
Absolutely. I think the Giants have the second best overall roster in the division.
I would agree.
Now you throw Dak in with Dallas. Now you have an argument. But I think the coach.
I would put Dak. If Dak was in, I would put them at 2 in the division.
Yeah, but I think Mike McCarthy is such a bad coach. You have to factor that in too.
Yeah, you do. But
I'm not saying Daboll's good. He's a rookie. He's only 2-0. But
either way,
my point is they're not a terrible roster. I just never had faith in Daniel Jones, and I thought, Brian Daboll's fine, but he's a rookie head coach.
Yeah.
So I can't put all my eggs in that basket. Well, they've looked pretty good, and the impressive part, the offensive coach Brian Daboll the Giants have a pretty good defense.
They do.
They have a serviceable defense.
They do.
That's an offensive coach, and he seemed to almost solve the defensive side of the ball so far.
Yeah.
And it's weird because he's offensive.
And they need to in division with Philly, and
Yeah, Philly puts up points. Point blank.
And you have to battle your way through kind of a weaker NFC anyway. So, you have a shot to make some noise.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not saying, win crazy amounts, but at least to Giants standards in the last 5-ish years.
Right.
You can kind of move up.
We know they haven't been successful in the last 5-ish years. But anyway, hit number 3, where are all my Jimmy G haters? He looked pretty good to me. Hasn't practiced with the team, right? He's been off doing his own drills in the corner, which has been kind of weird, but hasn't gotten any reps with the team, really. Didn't play at all in preseason. Now, I'm not going to say Seattle was a good defense, but it had Russell Wilson looking pretty messy and disorganized.
They did.
Hey, Jimmy G looked just fine against them. So, hey, I never said he was Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert. I never said he's Josh Allen or Aaron Rodgers. Everyone wants to hate on Jimmy G. All I know is he wins games.
He's very reliable.
He wins games.
He's very reliable.
I'm just saying, I don't know where all the haters are at, but he wins games. He gets the job done. Guys like him.
And how lucky and how good do you have to feel if you're the San Francisco front office after all the controversy, after dudes like me were talking after you signed Jimmy G to that big contract, highest paid backup.
What are you doing? I was the same way.
You don't trust Trey Lance. Well, now they have probably the best fallback plan to happen in the NFL. And I think Jimmy G will be able to lead them to a pretty good record this year.
We had him for third, I think, at 8 and 9, just because we didn't know what Trey Lance was going to be.
Yeah. I
think right now you could say that's a 10-win football team.
I think so.
I think it's a 10-win football team.
Yeah, they're going to be pretty good.
Yeah. All right, miss number 3. Our good buddy Luke over here has the honor of once again donning the crown in the second segment.
Yeah.
He lost again in predictions, so he took the Bucs, I took the Saints. We'll get into more of this, but he took the Bucs, I took the Saints. Obviously, I missed that one, but then I took the Giants, he took the Panthers, so now we're tied. I took the Jags over the Colts, and I took the Eagles over the Vikings, so I win 3 of the 4 splits and the tiebreaker, just as a to rub salt in the wound.
No, yeah, it wasn't a good week for me. The stats don't lie.
I think we have our first 2-game lead. Is that right? Or I think you had one maybe late in the year last year.
No, I definitely had. I have the paper somewhere around this place. I'll find it.
I think you had a 2-game lead late in the.
I had a pretty big lead. I think I had 3 at one point.
At one point, I think I became ineligible around week 15. I think I just gave up and I was just picking random. I was just I'll be contrarian and just I'll predict the Texans to go beat the Chiefs or something like that just for fun. But
no, yeah, I mean,
yeah,
this is the first time that you've ever led in general. You didn't lead at all last year. I got out to a hot start and then all you could do was tie and then I would jump ahead again. So
I'm out to a 2-0 start. It feels pretty good.
Hopefully I can go with the first pass. I mean, I can't lose another week here. It's kind of a must-win week. So
I would say it's a little bit of a must-win.
Yeah.
3 games is a lot of games.
Must-win. It's it's not a must-win game yet. You know how in hockey when you got the best of 7 and you're going in and you're down 2-0 and you're well, we could lose tonight, but we got to win this game.
Right.
Got to get some sort of momentum generated on this side. But that's it for hits and misses, guys. Come back in the second segment. We will be reviewing all of the week 2 action from the NFL, so don't go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss it.
All right, second segment is back. The issue Thursday, pretty good. It's a Steeler game day tonight. We have the Thursday night game, Steelers coming up later tonight. We'll get to our predictions in the third segment for that game and then the rest of the week as well. Second segment here. What's that?
Steelers Browns. It's going to be
who do you? I guess we'll get to who we like there. But I guess if I had to preview it, I'd just sum it up in a sentence. I think it's going to be messy and defensive. Neither quarterback is super effective.
No.
Both offenses are dealing with some either injuries or areas of need.
And the Steelers are dealing with Matt Canada.
Right. That's an automatic handicap right then and there. So
it's tough. I mean,
it is tough. But this segment here, we're going to be going over some of the bigger storylines from week 2 in the NFL, and then of course we'll kind of glaze over any of the ones we missed. Obviously, we're not going to sit here and just talk to you about every single every single game for 50 minutes. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
nobody needs to hear about how the Giants and Panthers had, I don't know, maybe the ugliest game of the day. It was 1916. It was basically field goal kickers just trading points.
If you had their kickers in fantasy, congratulations.
Yeah, that's about the only applicable thing there, right?
No, yeah.
But we did mention the Steelers and Matt Canada. Let's start there. That might have been the most anemic offensive performance I've seen in a long time, regardless of football team, regardless of the level of play, whether it's high school, college, or the NFL. That was some of the worst football I've ever had to watch in my entire life. I found myself actually bored watching it.
It was really bad. The Steelers really couldn't generate anything offensively. I watched the entire game, and it just looked like they were trying to get going the entire time. Mitch never really settled in. The offensive line wasn't creating holes for Najee. And then I actually saw a couple of plays and even some highlights just later on throughout the week of Najee just almost looking lost. There were a couple holes that opened up, and
that was a bad look.
Did not follow the blocks all that well. Outside of that, though, I mean, our receivers seemed to play well when they could get the ball thrown to them.
Right.
And the ways that the balls were being distributed. I mean, it was just...
So I think this is... So I was watching film for the TikTok, right? By the way, if you don't follow TikTok, go follow Now The Issue podcast or the underscore...
The issue underscore podcast.
The issue underscore. You never know which username's taken on which platform. So anyway.
Links in the description.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, link in the description. Perfect, right? So I'm doing a little bit of like film study type stuff, looking at some college quarterbacks, right? I like to kind of get a look. Are they going to project to the next level? What do I think about them, right? I'm looking at... Oh, God, who did I just look at? I was looking at Jackson Dart, Caleb Williams, right? So Caleb Williams, the USC quarterback.
Yeah.
I think one of the more impressive things I saw was his ball placement, not just, there's a guy in the corner of the end zone, 30 yards out, can you hit him? That's great. Yeah. That's great. That's super important. Nowadays in this league, though, it's very, get your playmakers the ball in space, let them do all the heavy lifting, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to put a ball in a place that allows them to have yards after the catch, right? You got to throw them upfield, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Right? If they're moving towards the middle of the field on a slant and you throw it even just at them and they have to slow down for a second, well, now they're not getting yards after the catch.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So it's little things like that. And it's just, it's pick and stick football, 2-yard outs, 2-yard ins, 2-yard sticks. It's just...
Needs to be cleaned up a little bit. And it needs to be, brought to life a little bit with some down the field type stuff.
So... I think down the field type stuff's important. I think we need to get back to running the football with some physicality. Right now, I think the offensive line is going to be able to do it. We have big dudes.
Yes.
Right. I think we're going to be able to run block pretty well, but we have to commit to it. Right. We have to commit to put in Derek Watt. Like, we pay him a lot of money. Put him in the game. Give me 2 tight end sets. Run the football.
Yes.
Right. Don't mess around. Give Najee some defined looks. Hey, you're going to get this ball. The B gap's going to be there. Hit the hole. Let's at least get 5 or 6. Mm-hmm. Right? And Kyle Shanahan is a wizard at this. He creates a numbers advantage on that side of the line by manipulating personnel and by manipulating formations. He finds a way to still have Debo on the field, still have Brandon Ayuk on the field, so you're somewhat spread out. Right? You basically take 2 to 3 guys, depending on if they're running a safety at the top, out of the equation. Right? You got Ayuk and Debo, so you're going to have each of their corners, and then probably a safety over top. Right, because Ayuk's got some speed, right? You can't leave it cover 0.
Yeah.
Maybe every now and then, but most of the time you're gonna have a safety up top.
Yeah, you're gonna at least have a cover.
Right, so you take 3 guys out of the equation. So now you have 9 including your quarterback, and they have 8 in the box.
Yep.
Right, so basically 8-on-8 football. If you can find a way to get your numbers even in the box, that's a dream because you're playing with basically one less guy in the run game because you're quarterback.
Yes.
Right, and so to be able to find a numbers advantage is so important, and they just never seem to have it.
No, and they always get steamrolled.
It's upsetting. So let's shift to someone else. I guess that kind of got steamrolled in the second half would be the Raiders. Kyler Murray.
Oh my gosh!
So did you see the clip where he was scrambling for 20.8 seconds? Is that right?
Yes, it was something like the play was a total of I think 29 or near 30 seconds, something like that.
It was ridiculous.
It looked like backyard football. It looked like you were just got some buddies over and you were having you were playing in a turkey bowl.
And so, right, we've said this, Kyler's so good, I'd pay him. We have our concerns, obviously.
Yeah.
But are they a better football team with Kyler Murray than not this morning?
Oh, yes. I mean, take any other quarterback from around the league, really, and put them in that situation? Are they doing those types of things? Can they do outside of Lamar?
I was just about to say maybe
Lamar
Lamar
is really the only other quarterback that can orchestrate something like that.
And I don't think Lamar has the accuracy or precision as a passer. I don't think he's as pure of a passer right now as Kyler.
Yeah, not to do what Kyler did.
I still think Lamar's fine passing. People I think overrate the fact that he's more of a runner. I think he's a fine passer. But I think Kyler's a little bit better. But no, it was so impressive. And people that are beating on the Raiders, Kyler's just really, really good.
He is.
Like, it sucks, but that's a talented football team, and Kyler is just insane.
Yeah.
Look, he's different. He's weird. He plays COD, every day. Whatever, that's fine. Who cares? He's so good at quarterback, you just have to accept it.
And you have to understand, like, these players have lives outside of football.
Yeah.
Most of them. Not everybody wants to commit 100% to the game like Tom Brady did. There are other players that take other approaches.
Well, speaking of Brady, the Saints once again gave Brady fits. Now, Brady and them, they ended up figuring it out. I wouldn't even say that Brady figured it out. I would say that Jameis must have forgot what team he played for. I think he thought he still played for the Bucs because he had 3 straight possessions where he threw a pick.
Yeah. It was choppy. It was a little bit ugly. And I think Tom Brady and the Bucs did a great job at taking advantage of that. At least they've always seemed to struggle against that team, and the Saints just always find ways to at least create matchup hell for the Bucs.
I think it's their secondary. But speaking of secondary, they sent C.J. Gardner-Johnson over to Philly, so let's shift to Philly. I mean, that Eagles team looks dominant. I mean, here's the thing. They run the football super effectively. This is going to give Jalen Hurts really defined reads on the outside. He is plenty good enough to hit mostly open receivers.
Yes.
And talented ones at that. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, right? Talented receivers. He is plenty good enough to distribute the ball with defined reads to good playmakers.
Yes.
Absolutely. And they run the ball really, really effectively, and so does he. Good offensive line, good protection, defined reads, good tight end target on third downs. A.J. Brown's big, physical, run after catch. And then on defense, just the secondary is ridiculous. I said once they got Darius Slay last year, right? And they go out and got that James Bradbury, who's been a top about 7 corner in the league for a while now, and he's probably your second best corner.
Yeah.
So now you have like 2 of the top 10 to 12 corners in the league, and you get C.J. Gardner-Johnson on the back end.
They've made some very, very, very good additions to both sides of the football, and I think that's just paying dividends this season. I mean, they look like a team that could very well be a contender out of the NFC. I'm just going to say that. I mean,
do you think they had the best offseason of anybody?
I mean, we had them graded at an A+, but I think we only had like maybe 1 or 2 other teams at an A+. I think that they had, personally, I would say they had the best.
I think they had the best offseason. I agree. I couldn't agree more. And this is how you support a young quarterback.
Yeah.
Go get him a weapon. Go get some DBs, that way you don't have to win shootouts.
What a job by a young coach, too.
I mean, fantastic.
He's been able to walk in there and kind of... He didn't change the culture. He more reinvigorated the culture, reminded everybody... He reminded everybody who they were. Like, at the end of the day, when you play in the Philadelphia Eagles organization, there's a particular kind of swag that you have to have about you.
Expectation.
Right, and
like
a chip on your shoulder that you should kind of play with. And I think he kind of not brought it back, but just turned it up a notch.
And I think Jalen Hurts is the perfect leader for that, too.
Oh, yeah. And I think, well, funny you talk about that, because I saw a video of Trevor Lawrence
coming out of the tunnel,
and the caption on it said, "This guy couldn't motivate me to make a sandwich."
And I mean, so look, I think Lawrence does have some good leadership qualities, but he doesn't have that
like
voice.
Jalen Hurts.
He doesn't have that voice in the locker room where you're like, oh, hey, Evan, shut up, Justin, or Trevor's talking, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't have that type of voice, and he doesn't have that type of presence. But
Jalen does.
Jalen does.
Yeah, I like it.
Jalen does. He's a guy's guy. All right, to kind of talk about some of the other games. Of course, I won this past week, so I'm now 2-0 on the year. You know, I'm sitting with the Bills and the Dolphins and the Chiefs, all the good teams. You are, of course, 0-2. Hey, it's fine. You got good company. You got the Falcons, the Raiders, the Titans, the Panthers. So not all hope is lost for you. It's okay. But either way, so to review, obviously we had the Chargers Chiefs Thursday night, really entertaining game.
It's tough.
Man, that is just a tough look.
I hate it.
So we had the Chiefs-Chargers on Thursday night. Super entertaining game. I thought one of the most impressive singular throws of the day was Justin Herbert. 4th down. On 3rd down, he is hurting so bad in his ribs. He ended up, I think, breaking a couple of them or something with the cartilage. He had to, flick it out of bounds because he couldn't make a throw. Or he could have even ran for a yard and got the 1st down. Couldn't even do that. Next play, drops back, throws a dime up the middle of the field on 4th down. That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
That was impressive. Justin Herbert's that guy. I think I walked away from that game thinking more of Justin Herbert than I did anybody or any team in that game. No, obviously Mahomes and the Chiefs, they've been fantastic, but that was an impressive showing in a losing effort. Commanders and Lions, Carson Wentz started slow. I think he ended up having a pretty decent game overall. Started slow. I watched a good bit of this one. The Lions' defense, their pass rush is pretty legit.
It is. I mean, they are putting pressure on quarterbacks. And
Aiden Hutchinson was definitely the right decision.
100%. And here's the thing with that, though. You need that in the NFC North. You got to get pressure on Aaron. You got to put pressure on Kirk Cousins.
Because Kirk is a completely different quarterback with pressure. We saw that last on Monday.
Yeah, so you can get pressure on them, and they play each other this week, right? Is it Vikings Lions?
Yeah, the Lions are at the Vikings, right? So if they're able to get pressure, I can see that game going. I mean, that's going to be in our bets on a budget, so we'll get to that later. But the Lions are an underdog, and if I think they can get pressure on Kirk Cousins, we could see that flip a little bit.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I wasn't going to talk much about this, Giants and Panthers. I think it's impressive that the Giants are 2-0. Granted, it's 2 games, so let's not put a whole lot into that. But at the end of the day, Daniel Jones isn't turning the ball over at an alarming rate, which is kind of what he's done his entire career. He's 3-1 touchdown interception. I mean, granted, he's a little safer, so he's only got 364 yards on the entire year. So he's a lot safer, about 150-some yards a game, right? He's going to keep it, within himself, make the right plays, but he's not turning the ball over, and that's enough for them to win.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, I mean, you can't really be too upset about that.
Right.
Niners and Seahawks, tough for Trey Lance.
Oh, my gosh.
Tough for Trey Lance.
When you have such high expectations on the season and you're hoping to see those next steps and you're hoping to see that progression and even just getting the snaps under his belt.
Yeah.
And then something like that happens, it's just a really ugly way to end what was supposed to be such a good season.
It'll be an exciting season for them.
But to the 49ers' credit, they did a great job with signing Jimmy G, locking him up as the highest paid backup. I mean, it's showing that it pays off, I guess, for them. I mean, wow. The chances of that. What are the chances that the team that goes out and spends the most amount of money on their backup quarterback, their first-string quarterback, gets hurt week 2?
That's tough.
It's kind of weird, but
it's ironic, and it's almost like an I told you so moment.
But luckily they had him.
Right.
Luckily they had him.
Right.
And
I think they're going to win plenty of games with them. They look to me now like a 10 to maybe 11 if some things go right, if they get some key guys back from injury.
Right.
All right, Rams and Falcons. Rams were up big. Falcons made it close towards the end. The Falcons are going to be a scrappy team. I don't think they're very good.
Well, yes.
But Mariota is athletic enough to keep them in games. He can compete. And the defense has some redeeming qualities, and they've been good in the second half this year.
They have been, but the only thing is a lot of those points were garbage time points.
I agree. But at the end of the day, they came within 4, so...
Well, and I'm betting them this week, so hopefully...
You're betting... Oh, are you really betting them this week?
I'm taking Atlanta. You're taking... that's one of our splits.
I'm taking the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Wow, you're breaking the rule of not betting Atlanta.
I know, but, I mean, do you trust Geno Smith? Okay.
Fair enough. All right, Dolphins at the Ravens. I mean, the Ravens, again, up big, 35-14, end up losing 42-38. Tua looked good. Tyreek looked good. Jalen Waddle looked good. We said this would happen. This was one of our hits, so not much to talk about here. I will say I think Lamar came out looking like a really, really good quarterback as well. I came out of that game thinking...
42 points in fantasy this week for me.
I came out thinking I think Lamar's still the better player.
I think so, yes.
I think it's close, but I think Lamar's a better player right now.
I think Lamar's a better player. I don't think it's too close yet.
What he can do on the ground is unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is. And, I mean, at the end of the day, I like Lamar's arm over Tua.
I think he's got a stronger arm, that's for sure. Accuracy, go Tua, but I think he's got a stronger, more dynamic arm, yeah.
Yeah, so I like Lamar there.
All right, Colts at the Jags. Jags absolutely rout them 24-0. Colts are in shambles. They've lost 8 straight in Jacksonville. That was predictable. One of the reasons you have the crown on, so sucks to be you. Jets at the Browns. Jets, in a thrilling fashion, 31-17. to 30. All Nick Chubb would have had to do is slide down instead of scoring that last touchdown. They missed an extra point earlier in the game, so a little bit of dysfunction, a little bit of disorganization, miscommunication. Somebody's got to tell Chubb, hey, get down. He doesn't. Jets scored 2 touchdowns in the span of a minute and a half.
Oh, that's such a little IQ mistake there. And
really
you don't
is.
expect that from a Nick Chubb. You don't.
Oh, he's mostly a solid player. All right, Bengals at Cowboys. Did not expect the Bengals to get pushed around, but at the end of the day, pass rushes will put quarterbacks off their spot. I think Micah Parsons was super effective. Joe Burrow really couldn't get comfortable. And they can't really stop anybody with consistency. Now, granted, the Cowboys only scored 20 points, but they were moving the ball pretty well. Yeah. Like, Cooper Rush looked in command. I don't think their pass rush is up to par yet. And I think on both lines of scrimmage, the Bengals are not as good as they need to be right now.
No, yeah, they definitely need improvements there. I mean, that's been evident since last year. It's just carrying over.
Cardinals at the Raiders. I mean, Kyler's incredible. We talked about this one already. All right, Texans at Broncos. For some reason, Russ just can't get it together.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
It's really starting to be a little bit alarming.
I mean, look, the Texans are scrappy. They have a decent running game. Their secondary's okay.
Sure, but it's the Texans.
Dude,
you're in the AFC West.
Yeah.
You got to beat the Chargers. You got to beat the Chiefs.
You got to win by more than 7 against
Raiders.
the Texans. I agree. Packers, as you know, it's not a shock that they beat the Bears. This is what happens. Aaron plays a good team.
Ugly.
Isn't very good.
Ugly.
It was ugly in the first half. Second half, they kind of pulled away a little bit. 27-10, not a surprise there. We talked about the Vikings and Eagles on Monday night. The Bills rout the Titans. Stephon Diggs put up, 3 touchdowns? He had 12 catches.
Insane.
I had him in fantasy. That was fantastic.
I played against him in fantasy. It was not fantastic.
That sucks for you.
Yes, it does.
We saw Malik Willis's debut. He went 1 for 4 for 6 yards and had 4 carries for 16. He only played for a couple of series at the end, but Josh Allen looked dynamic per usual. I mean, that might be the best team in the league. I think it is.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, let's do ourselves a little bit of prediction here coming up in the third segment. Don't go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss it. Hopefully, I can make some predictions to keep that tiara over there.
No. What's up? We are back. It is the third segment of the issue here on Thursday, September 22nd. Been a great show so far, and now we have kind of our favorite part of the show, especially this time of year, which is the predictions for the coming week. So week 3 of the NFL, we have not been disappointed so far. I mean, week 1 was great. Week 2 was even crazier. So the storylines of week 3 are going to be fantastic.
That 4:25 window was unbelievable.
It was really good.
Unbelievable.
The beginning of the 1 o'clock was a little bit boring, like with the Steelers, but then once you got into the 4 o'clock games, it was crazy. And then the Sunday night game, crazy. Monday night, both games on Monday night were really good. The one was fun to watch, not necessarily competitive. One was very fun, yeah.
The other one was a hostile environment in Philly.
Yes, it was. But either way, great content from the NFL. So they've been doing a great job this year. Ratings have been up. Everybody's been watching, and more people have been watching this show, probably because we're right on a lot of our predictions. So let's just kind of start to this season so far. Yes, I have the record and the stats and the trophy from last year to back it up. We don't have a trophy, but the proverbial trophy.
Yeah.
But either way, we have another week of predictions, so let's just get right into that.
Okay, Thursday night game, Steelers at the Browns. We both like the Steelers here, so maybe we're being optimistic. But the Steelers have historically owned the Browns, especially when they have inferior quarterback play.
Yes.
Now, I like Jacoby Brissett as a backup, but is he long-term? Is he someone that I think can beat Pittsburgh? No. I think Tomlin has owned average to below-average quarterbacks. I think that's going to continue here. I think Jacoby is not going to be able to make enough throws down the field. I worry a little bit about our running game, being able to stop Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. But we'll see how it goes. I wouldn't be surprised if Jacoby Brissett drops back 17 times and they just run the ball a lot. I think Mitch makes one throw that Jacoby doesn't, and I'll take the Steelers by a field goal.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those really tight games just because, I don't feel great with the Steelers having TJ Watt out. That's a big piece to be missing, especially in a divisional game like this against the Browns. That's kind of somebody you want to have. But no, I do see the Browns just making a few more mistakes than the Steelers do, and that's really what it's all going to come down to in the end here.
All right, Ravens at the Patriots. We both like the Ravens here. To be honest, Lamar is just too dynamic. There's just not enough playmakers on New England. If they're going to win, they're going to have to win, kind of like we saw this past week against the Steelers. grind out a victory by just running the football, keeping Mac Jones safe because he's so limited.
Yeah.
Like, he's really not a good quarterback, and so you have to kind of just run the football and just cling to any lead that you can get. And I think the Ravens are a 30-plus a game type of team. And I don't think the New England Patriots can keep up. I think the Ravens win by more than a touchdown, probably. We both like the Ravens here.
Yeah, I mean, Lamar is special, and he is going to tear apart Bill Belichick's defense.
We got the Saints at the Panthers. I think we both like the Saints here. The Panthers are fine. And not saying I like to bet on Jameis, but I'm definitely not betting on Baker. I think Matt Rule's seat is cooking hot, and for that reason, there's going to be a lot of tension. Their defense, their secondary's been kind of shaky. I'll go with the Saints here.
Yeah, I'm going Saints.
I don't feel great about it because I don't think the Saints are very good either, especially with Jameis at the helm. But at least their defense is really stout, and I think that's going to kind of take them to victory.
That's what when I was thinking about the decision, they were kind of even offensively. I mean, they're not the greatest, most powerhouse of teams, but I do see the Saints maybe even scoring a defensive touchdown. You know, they're really elite. And
Baker does like to throw pick sixes.
Against an inferior offense in the Panthers with a Baker Mayfield at quarterback. I mean, it just kind of makes sense.
All right, let's go Raiders at the Titans. At least the Raiders have shown me flashes. The Titans have just shown me that they can lose to, let's be honest, the Giants. We don't mind the Giants roster for their division, but overall, I mean, it's not a good roster.
I mean, it's not like it stacks up like playoff caliber teams in the NFC.
I think Tennessee's got a better top-to-bottom roster.
I'd agree, yeah.
But they lost, right? And then they got waxed by Buffalo, which I think is going to be a common theme. But still, you got to be at least competitive. The Raiders, I at least see some flashes.
And I like Derek Carr a lot,
I like Derek Carr better than Ryan Tannehill as well.
And I think at some point, Derek Carr and Devontae Adams are really going to start to mesh and figure things out. I mean, like you ranted on today, I mean, people need to slow down with their reactions. Just because they haven't become the number one duo in the league yet doesn't mean they won't. It's
They're
been
be good.
2 weeks of football, so let's give all of the offenses time to gel. I mean, this is the sport's going to look completely different in a month.
God, it's going to be unbelievable.
It's going to be so much more clean.
I'll give you a hint. There's going to be a last place team that's vying for first, and there's going to be a first place team right now that loses 3 straight within the next month and a half.
Yes.
It just is what it is. All right, Eagles at the Commanders. We both like Philly here pretty convincingly. They're a much better football team. I think they're going to be able to run all over Washington. I think their run defense is a little bit shaky, and I'm not sure they can match up, especially when you get down to, right, like you got to match up with A.J. Brown. Big, physical, fast. Dallas Goedert is a plus tight end. Devontae Smith can take the top off the defense. Once you get down to your third defender, who's guarding Devontae Smith, right? Who's guarding Dallas Goedert, right? Nobody. And so I think with play action reads, the Eagles are going to be really effective. Carson Wentz is probably going to make a couple throws that you're like, what are you doing? Eagles win. Eagles, yeah. All right, Lions at the Vikings. We both like the Vikings here, but you definitely have to give some respect to the Lions.
I would
right?
say
It's
at least
close.
I would throw a potential upset alert on this one.
Absolutely.
This is my one of the week where I'm going to put some money on the Lions at least. I think.
Just to see how it goes.
Just in case, because it's one of those ones that it's going to be so close.
Right. No, I agree. And that's an over to watch as well. 53.5.
That's going to be a lot of points.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like a 34-30 type of game. Right. It's going to be a lot of points.
I mean, unless the Lions pass rush just absolutely takes Kirk Cousins and that entire offense out of the game. That's the only other outcome.
Right, but I still think even then they're at least going to get 25.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We both like the Vikings there, but narrowly, and I think the Lions are going to look really good. All right, Packers at the Bucks. First more split on here. You're going to take the Packers going to Tampa and winning. I'll take the Bucks. At the end of the day, I'm going to bet on Brady. I heard a quote. John Middlecoff said, I like every game that I'm going into, especially if Aaron Rodgers is my quarterback, especially in the playoffs. And I go, you're out of your mind. Now, I know this is in the playoffs, but my point is that I will not trust Aaron Rodgers to rise to any occasion. I will trust Tom Brady to rise to every single occasion. I will take Tom Brady to beat Aaron Rodgers.
I'm going Green Bay. I think they have more, I don't even want to say more pieces, but just more stability, it seems like right now. I don't know what it seems like with Tampa, but they're just kind of shaky.
Yeah.
And Tom, I'm not sure what I'm getting from Tom, honestly. The receiving core, I mean, Mike Evans is out this week.
Chris Godwin's still out. Russell Gage is still out. So
I'll take Aaron and the Packers.
All right. Rams at the Cardinals. We both like the Rams there. It's going to be close, but I mean the Rams have won I think 10 of the last 11 or something like that against the Cardinals. I'll take the Rams to keep it going.
Yeah, Rams.
Falcons and Seahawks. I like the Seahawks. You like the Falcons.
This is such a bad game.
Yeah, it's going to be a really bad game. It's going to suck when one of us gets burned on it.
It comes down. I don't like Geno Smith.
I don't either.
But
I think I like the stability, and there's still some pieces in Seattle. I think top to bottom, Seattle has a better roster than Atlanta.
Yeah.
And at least Geno's a little bit more of a veteran. He's not quite as erratic running the football, which means his lows aren't going to go as low as Mariota's. Granted, his highs aren't going to go as high, but I like the steadiness of Seattle a little bit more than Atlanta.
Yeah, I don't know. This is just one of those games where
you just got to go with your gut. Hope you're right.
Yeah.
All right, Buffalo at Miami. We both like Buffalo here.
Convincingly, too.
I think they're just incredible. I don't think it takes away anything from Miami. I think Buffalo is just incredible.
Yeah.
All right, Chiefs at Colts. We're both going to take the Chiefs here. The Colts aren't a very good football team, quite frankly. I think the pass rush is going to get to Matt Ryan. They lack dynamic playmakers on the edge outside of Michael Pittman, who was hurt last week. Who knows if he'll be back. Chiefs have all that and more.
And, I mean, have we doubted Mahomes watching him this season yet? I mean, you've watched him, and he's been the same electric, makes every throw, gets out of the pocket, moves everything. He has not lost a single step yet, and I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Andy Reid and Mahomes in September are just money, so we'll go with the Chiefs.
Absolute powerhouse.
Bengals at Jets. We both like the Bengals pretty handily. I think the Jets was a little bit of lightning in a bottle last week with Joe Flacco, and do I really think Joe Flacco's going to go in there and win again? I don't.
Especially against a Bengals team. I mean, you got Joe Burrow, you got Jamar Chase.
They're going to bounce back eventually.
You have so much in Cincinnati. I mean, they've just had a disappointing 2 weeks, I think is all it comes down to.
I think they'll be fine.
Pump the brakes on the Cincinnati hate. I mean, they'll get back
I think
up
I think they'll at least be back to wild card level competition. They're a good football team.
They'll be competing with Baltimore.
Texans at the Bears. We're split on this one too. So I'm going to take the Texans. You'll take the Bears, and neither of us feel pretty good about it.
I feel horrible.
I think the Texans can at least they have something that they're good at. They can run the football pretty effectively, and their secondary is okay. I'm not sure I can say that there's two at least above average units in Chicago.
Yeah.
For that reason, I'll go Texans. Again, I don't feel strongly about it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just really hoping to win the week here. So I'm looking for something that might be,
a little spark plug.
Yeah, something just to get some momentum. The Bears win, that would be great for me.
I've got three more real quick here. Nothing too crazy. Jags at Chargers. I think that one's pretty easily the Chargers.
Yeah.
I think the Jags are good, but they're not at that level yet.
Oh, not even close.
49ers at the Broncos. We went back and forth on this one. We both took the Niners. I think they're a little more steady right now. Jimmy's been there for a couple years. He knows the system. I'm not sure how I feel about Russ. I mean, to be honest, I love Russ. He looks old right now. He's not moving around quite as well. I'm not sure what I'm getting.
He's aging for sure.
I think the 49ers are a more stable team. I think they're going to get some guys back from injury. We both like the Niners.
49ers, yeah.
All right, finally, we got on Monday Night Football, the Cowboys at the Giants. I never thought I'd look at this game and pick the Giants, but here we are.
The Cowboys have that bad of a roster, yes.
The roster's pretty bad, and I don't think Cooper Rush, he's a backup, right? He can come in and win you a game or two. Do I think he's going to be able to go on the road in division prime time and beat the Giants, who are playing really good defense? I don't. So we'll take the Giants there.
Yeah, I mean, barely, but I mean, still the Giants. That's one of those games where it's just going to be,
right.
So I mean, it's going to look like a tire fire from the beginning.
It's going to be bad on both sides. So to kind of review, we're split on Bucks Packers. I like the Bucks. He likes the Packers, as well as the Falcons and the Seahawks. I'll take the Seahawks being at home. You'll go Falcons on the road with Mariota.
Yep.
We'll see how that plays out. I'll take the Texans. I believe the Texans are on the road. Texans are on the road, and you will take the home and favored Chicago Bears. We'll see if I'm 3-0. Am I 2-1? Do you get on the board?
Finally, I need a 1-2.
We'll see.
I need to start coming back a little bit here.
We also need to start coming back in our bets. It's been a tough start to our bets on a budget. I think this week we get back on track.
Yeah, so let's get right into that. Bets on a budget.
So I think the first bet here, let's go Lions plus 6.5. If you can find them at 6.5. I've seen 6.5 plus 6 even. I would take them. Plus 5.5, I'd have to think about it, but I'd still probably take them.
I'd take that.
So plus we'll round it at plus 6, maybe plus 6.5 if you can get it at Minnesota. So the Lions, first of all, they're a really physical football team. They're a really emotional football team. Those are the type of teams that generally cover spreads and keep games close.
Yes.
And I think Minnesota's good, but like we saw, if you can get Kirk off his spot, he's going to have some issues,
Yeah, if
right?
you can get pressure on him.
That's most NFL quarterbacks, but even more so the ones that are not mobile and rely on a pocket, like a Jared Goff, even on the other side of the football.
For sure.
In Detroit. So I think they're good enough to keep it close. Swift runs the ball effectively enough. Amon-Ra St. Brown's a good wide receiver.
Yeah.
I think Lions +6 is the right side here.
Yeah, I don't see really a downside to that because, I mean, at the end of the day, this is one where you can just go and make money because the odds are going to be in your favor of making money if you can hit this. So, I mean, back bet is never a bad option. Take something a little safer that we have down the line.
I don't even think it'd be crazy to put them on the money line if you're feeling really crazy. I don't know. But, +6 feels pretty good.
I like that.
All right, we got the Eagles minus. So we got all spreads this week, by the way, because I like a lot of them. Eagles -6.5 at Washington. But I think they're a significantly better team than Washington.
Yes.
And I think that's a big play offense, right? They have the type of offense that's going to knock you out, and the defense that if you aren't a disciplined quarterback, which we know that Carson Wentz is not,
walk all over you.
Right. They're going to get turnovers. They're going to run the football. They're going to just possession the game away from you, right? They're just going to hold the ball for 40 minutes, run the ball, get turnovers.
Yeah, you're really.
I like them by almost 2 touchdowns. I mean, it's going to be. I think Philly's going to look really good.
Yeah, I think it's a potential for a blowout right there. I like Philly a lot. They've been proving themselves week 1 and 2 now, and I think they are the real deal, and especially against a lesser opponent in Washington. I like that.
I agree. I think they have a significantly better roster than Washington as well. Yeah. So let's go Steelers +5 at Cleveland. That's a lot of points for a divisional game, first of all, and that's a lot of points for a team who has that's pretty much equal across the board. Mm-hmm. I mean, quarterbacks, about equal. I'd say Mitch is a little bit better than
I would take
Brissett.
Mitch. I would take Mitch.
Backfield, I guess backfield and offensive line, I'm definitely taking the Browns. But defense, resoundingly Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Weapons, resoundingly Pittsburgh on the outside. So I think it's in a weapons league. They have better weapons. They have a better quarterback. I think their defense is good enough to hold Cleveland at bay long enough. I think it's a close game. I think they either lose close or win close, but I think either way they'll cover the +5 at Cleveland on Thursday night.
Yeah, I agree there. I mean, I just don't like betting against the Steelers in a divisional matchup against the Cleveland Browns. I mean, the Steelers always play them close. When's the last time the Steelers got blown out by the Browns? Not since Mike Tomlin's been the coach. I don't think that happens.
Even in that wild card game where we started so poorly, we ended up coming back and making it somewhat competitive at least.
Exactly. So I don't see the Steelers losing by more than 5. So I'll take the Steelers +5.
All right, Kansas City -6.5 at Indianapolis. So I like this one. Here's the thing about Indy. I don't know, even if Michael Pittman comes back, I don't know his health. And the running game hasn't quite been there. The offensive line's not quite getting the push they were. And Matt Ryan's fine, but once you get pressure on him because the offensive line's not what it was, there are some severe issues. I mean, they didn't even score a point against Jacksonville. And Jacksonville, look, improved defense, not a good defense.
No.
I think Kansas City has about as good, if not a little bit better of a defense.
This is going to be...
I think Mahomes is going to be really, really good.
This game's not going to be close.
This one I'll predict the score will go 32 to... 17. I'll give Indy 17.
38-3.
38-3. Wow, that is resounding.
They're going to blow them out.
All right, Bengals -4.5 at the Jets. Now, I do think it will be close. I think it'll be like maybe a touchdown game, 6 to 7 point game. The Jets are scrappy. The defense is not quite there yet, which is kind of upsetting to see from a defensive head coach. You'd expect it to kind of be closer to at least average. They're way below average.
At least making improvements and fixing it up a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't like Joe Flacco to go in there and beat Joe Burrow.
No.
Let's be real. And so I think the Bengals by about a touchdown feels right to me.
Yeah.
The Jets will scrap. They'll probably score a garbage time touchdown late to bring within a touchdown. I'll go with the Bengals -4.5.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, Joe Burrow is going to do... Cincinnati's going to get back on their horse.
They're going to bounce back eventually, and I think this is the game that they can.
Especially against a really, really kind of just almost, hey guys, do you want to go run an OTA this Sunday? Oh, yeah, by the way, that OTA is
a real game. It's just a very meh team. They're just
Are they?
It's very average. I think the wide receivers aren't bad.
They're in New York.
But I don't think that matters.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, since when have been like big home field advantages.
For the Jets.
The Jets. No, I mean, like, you're talking Arrowhead, Philly.
Lambeau.
Hines is up there. Yeah, definitely. Not MetLife.
Yeah, that they share.
Yeah, they
with
it
another
doesn't
team.
feel right.
You can't have like as crazy fan base like Bills Mafia if you're sharing a stadium.
Right.
You know?
Right. And it
like build your own stadium.
Little segue. This kind of reminds me, like, obviously I wasn't alive for the Showtime Lakers, right? But, like, if you go back and you look, they were a lot bigger and they felt bigger back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Well, they weren't sharing the Staples Center with the Clippers, right? The Rams weren't competing out there for views and for fans, right? You didn't have the Dodgers were fine. They weren't great. You didn't have the Angels, right? There were a lot less teams out there, right? So the more you have in a market, the less of that fan base,
it becomes saturated.
That super passionate fan base.
Yeah.
I mean, in New York, you're still gonna basically fill up the stadium. But I mean, in Pittsburgh, it's like a holiday. Like I actually call it my holiday on Sundays.
Every Sunday.
It's a religion at this point. Like, you're not gonna get that in those bigger markets. So.
No.
Oh, that's about it for our bets and budget. We got Lions +6, Eagles -6.5, the Steelers at +5, Kansas City at -6.5, and the Bengals at -4.5. We got 2 dogs, 3 favorites. Hoping to get back on the winning side of things. That's about all we got. I really appreciate you guys listening. This is where you kind of take it over.
No, yeah, it's been a really good show, guys. Thanks for stopping by. We will be back next week to review all of Week 3, predict for Week 4. We'll have some great storylines. We're working on getting a couple guests. They are kind of coming down the pipeline here, so definitely subscribe, turn on those post notifications so you don't miss anything from the show.
100%.
Right? I would, you don't want to miss anything coming up.
Try the TikTok as well.
Oh yeah, go check out the TikTok. Things have been going well over there. The issue The issue _ podcast on TikTok.
Sure. I mean, it's in the description, so.
All the links are in the description. Just follow that link tree right down there. But guys, thanks for sticking around, and that was The Issue.